Hi, I'm Shiloh Thomas from Arctera. Welcome to Surveillance Signals, where we look at how global financial institutions are navigating change in communications surveillance. As supervision programs scale globally, data governance has become central to how they function. We explore with Chris why governance now underpins effective surveillance. A lot of the pressure that surveillance teams are facing today is the result of an increasing amount of data. So, as you think about programs and their ability to scale across regions, teams, why has data governance become so critical, such a critical operating requirement for surveillance?
Essentially, it comes down to bookkeeping, right? You need to be able to demonstrate and that you've captured every single message. And as brokers and traders, financial advisors, monitored employees within a firm continue to adopt more and more channels of communication, be it chat and mobile apps, different streaming apps, different online Zoom and Teams, and all of that, organizations need to either disallow their employees from using those channels because they're not properly capturing them, adhering to their bookkeeping requirements, or they need to embrace these new technologies, the technologies that their customers are using, and capture and ensure that all of those communications are properly captured, recorded, and surveilled. And so when it comes to governance, the biggest topic of the day, at least for right now, is to ensure good reconciliation of all the content that's being utilized across these channels.
So, you had mentioned a multitude of channels. There are conversations happening. The vast majority don't live in email anymore. There are collaboration suites, social, etc. So, when we think about those channels, that's obviously multiplying the number of communications. So, in practical terms, what does good governance, data governance look like for supervision surveillance teams as they're managing that vast amount of data? Are there any best practices or tips for applying good data governance when volumes are so large?
Well, you need to understand which channels your team are using, which channels they want to be using, and ensure that those channels are properly captured. You also need to ensure that any channels that individuals are using that are maybe skirting your regulations, or skirting the policies that you set up for your firm, are also being captured, right? Those off-channel signaling type conversations, ping me on WhatsApp or send me a snap, right? Those kinds of communications also need to be alerted upon, right? You also need to ensure that there's a good tone from the top when it comes to off-channel communication, so that you're not only writing all of this down in policy, but that you and your leaders are adhering to this practice. So that comes kind of on the capture side. When it comes to the bookkeeping requirements, you need to ensure that every single message is being captured. You need to be able to demonstrate to a requester that every single message is being captured, and that you're maintaining the life cycle for those messages in accordance with the different regulations that fall under scope for your firm.
So, operationally speaking, when you are proliferating this change and communicating what good data governance happens to be, where does that tend to break down, if at all, when it's not clearly communicated consistently across different regions? Because that's where we start to see some differences with our surveillance workflows and what's being monitored, as an example. So, are there any breakdowns that we have identified and that our customers have been able to steer clear of?
The biggest challenges kind of related to this in our industry is around reconciliation, right? The ability for the firm to demonstrate to an auditor that they've captured a particular channel and all of the communications associated to that channel, right? That's a really big challenge. What we've seen is that auditors are continuously asking more and more questions in this regard, and asking firms to produce more and more evidence that this is in fact occurring. This has become, as some customers have put it, a huge burden. And so the ability for the technology that you're using to be able to reconcile all of those comms is becoming critically important. and needs to be one of the primary focuses when it comes to choosing technology.
As surveillance programs scale, strong data governance needs to become foundational for consistency, confidence, and control. Thanks for watching Surveillance Signals. You can find more on communication surveillance at arcterra.com.